Ciao amici e benvenuti nella Peso sulla Luna. Hello friends, if this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you probably recognized from my attempt at an Italian introduction that this is my series in which I use Terre de Marseille adjacent and antique Italian decks to help me unpack the core message that I could get from the larger weekly spread that I do. I do a large weekly spread every week. That's why it's weekly. And it's complex. And I use a whole bunch of decks. And the information is dense and rich and wonderful. And yet it's sometimes nice to have a really short, sweet, concise message to pull out of this larger thing. And so every week, especially for the last 3 lunar cycles, maybe more, probably more, I've been asking what is the central message from this week's spread. And so that's what I'm doing. Now, just in case you have not seen this week's spread, I highly recommend you go watch that first. So I'll put a card up here for you to be able to hop on over and take a look at that. If you have seen it and you watched it in bits, or you've seen it but it's been a while and you would like a little bit of a refresher, let me give you just a couple of the key points. The first was we started off with the idea of, well, let me tell you the title of the video. Yeah, get ready to evolve. The spread seemed to be telling us that it's time to evolve, but in order to evolve, we're going to need to do a little bit of shedding. We're going to need to deliberately change ourselves. Because without a willingness to change, without a willingness to let things go, without a willingness to let things that do not match our future selves go, we're not going to be able to change. We could, no matter how much we sit and we tell ourselves, I'm ready to change, I'm ready to change, I'm ready to change. Come on, world, I'm ready to change. And that's all we do. No matter how happy, joyous, and free we may sound at that moment, if we aren't ready to go out and give attention to changing our emotional reactions to situations, people, events in our lives, then nothing's going to happen. Yeah? So that's kind of the basic idea, I think, from this week's larger spread. And so I want confirmation. So I've used a beautiful deck. I'll show you the deck. I'll show you the question in written form, all nice and pretty, and then we'll dive into it together. Okay? So friends, let's go. What do you think of those cards? I love this deck. And I printed out the name because it's long and I haven't really memorized it yet. The name of the deck is called Tarocchi Orientali di Claudio Fondraz. It's from Torino. It was originally produced in 1845, but the copy I have is a reproduction by Giordano Berti. My copy happens to be number 415 out of 700. I don't know how many they have left, but I will put a link in the description box to Giordano Berti's shop. If you're interested in going and checking it out, maybe he's got a copy or 2 left over, but it's really lovely. And it's a deck that was produced at a time when in Italy and other parts of Europe, there was a whole fashion trend, a fad of Orientalism. Now, Oriental is not a PC word anymore, but that's what it was called at the time. And especially all things Chinese were popular. Ming vases, clothes, women's fashion. Some of women's fashion was modeled after Chinese fashion. And so there was this deck created, this tarot deck, created in Torino, fashioned after what the Italians saw as Chinese culture. So it's a gorgeous deck. The art is phenomenal, and it's a really good reader. So here I am, reading away. This question you saw was, what is the central message of this week's Ace of Wands spread? And you saw from left to right, we had 3 cards, a very simple spread. And that's my intent every time I do a Tarot de Marseille reading for this series. I intend on 3 cards, but sometimes the spread calls out for more. But this time 3 seemed to be absolutely perfect. And we got from left to right the 6 of Coins, the Queen of Wands, and then the 5 of Wands. So we've got 2 wands and 1 coin, 1 earth, 2 fire. The numbers of the minor cards are very similar, 6 and 5. Not any big thing. They aren't stuck together. There's a queen in the center, so I'm not going to say it's an ascending thing or it's a descending thing. None of that I think is important. I don't think so. An interesting thing to note is that in the larger spread for this week, do you recall, there was a lot of fire. There were a lot of wands and a lot of fire, zodiacal, elemental signs in the spread. There was a lot of water, but there was also a lot of fire. So the Queen of Wands appearing seemed absolutely appropriate. I think we also had a... No, we didn't have a queen. I'm sorry. Never mind. So let's move into this spread. This spread, again, we started with the 6 of Wands, but because the queen is in the center, and she's looking at the 6 of Coins, away from the 5 of Wands, but she's primarily front-facing anyways, glancing a little bit more towards the 6 of Coins. I think we're going to start at the court card. We're going to start at our inner Queen of Wands. And of course, it doesn't matter whether you are in a male body, a female body, a trans body, a cisgendered body, an intersex body. We all have our inner page, our inner knight, our inner queen, and our inner king. Just saying. So, for you, for me, our inner queen, our inner Queen of Wands. Oh, something else that strikes me right off the bat is that last week, in this very same position, we had the King of Swords from a different deck, but we had the King of Swords right here in the center. Flanked by, on the left, instead of the 6 of Coins, we had the 5 of Coins, which is interesting. There were a couple of places in the larger spread for this week as well, where we had the next card in the line appear in the same spot. Like instead of the High Priestess in one spot, we had the Hierophant or the High Priest, right? Or the Pope in the same spot. Instead of a Knight of Swords, we had a Knight of Wands in the same spot. There were a lot of spots in this week's larger spread that mirrored the larger spread or seemed as a transition from the larger spread last week to this week. Does that make sense? I hope it does. I'm trying to make sense. I really, really am. So, last week in the center we had the King of Swords. On the left was the 5 of Coins. This time we have the Queen of Wands, and on the left is the 6 of Coins. Again, I'm starting from the Queen. So, who is the... Look at this card. This is just a gorgeous card. This is the Queen of Wands. So, who is she? She's the Queen of Courage and Determination. She has satisfaction from a creative life. Yeah? She's also a joyful queen. Yeah, she enjoys life. She enjoys doing what she does. She enjoys her independence, and she enjoys her creativity. Right? And her creativity is artistic and sexual. Yeah? She's the queen of sexual pleasures and sexual enjoyment and sexual expression. And that also equates to passion, right? She's passionate. Not only sexual, but also creatively passionate. Passionate about everything that she gets herself into doing. She can be capricious. She has a very strong instinctive nature as well. Yeah. She fully experiences all aspects of her life, and it's a very experiential kind of queen. The Queen of Coins could also be experiential, but the Queen of Coins is experience of stuff in the outside world. The Queen of Wands is experience of herself in the outside world. And all the things that she does and she experiences and she creates and all of that. So, this is what I believe we are called to do, to embody our inner Queen of Wands. Our creativity, our joy of doing and creating, maybe in revitalizing our sexual lives as well. Having a determined nature to do what it is that we have set out to do is also important and is a strong recurrent theme from this week's larger spread. So what is this passionate, determined, and joyful, creative, passionate queen interested in? Well, she's carrying behind her, with her own suit, the Five of Wands. So looking away from the Five of Wands is not ignoring it, I don't think, but rather this is part of her nature. She's a wand. She's got a wand right next to her. She doesn't have to give it much attention. I think this card expands on who the queen naturally is. And who is the Five of Wands? Yes, I said, who is the Five of Wands? The Five of Wands is playfulness. Yeah? Experimentation, trying out new stuff. Creative risks, new desires. Yeah, we've gone from the Four of Wands of stability. Stable passions, stable routines, having routine life and doing the things that we enjoy doing on a regular basis, right? And here we break free of that. We break free in a new burst of desire and creativity. We have the energy to go beyond what we've known. Now we are able to initiate ourselves into the unknown, the unknown creativity of art, of sex, of anything that is creative. Okay, I'm not going beyond the word creative here, but yeah. So we initiate ourselves into the unknown realms of creativity, which includes sexuality. And we can evolve towards unexpected depths or larger dimensions with the Five, because we grew into our nice, comfortable box, and now we're breaking out into the unknown and into new dimensions. And that is exactly, I think, what the larger spread from this week was telling us is possible. So how can we ensure that we're able to fulfill this potential? The way to fulfill this potential, I think, is the direction that the Queen of Wands is looking, which was the Six of Coins. So how are we going to be in the world? Right? What is the work we're going to do? What is the stuff we're going to have? The material, how is our health going to be? The coins. So what is her attention drawn to? Her attention is drawn to the Six of Coins, which is creature comforts. Yeah? The stuff that we have around us, that we enjoy having around us. It's self-care. Now she has an eye towards self-care and sensual pleasures. Yeah? Sensual pleasures beyond sex. Sensual pleasures like eating good food, drinking good stuff, good coffee, good wine. Enjoying the sound of music. Yes, the hills are alive. Maybe that too. Yeah. The smell of fragrances like flowers and maybe essential oils, or the smell of coffee or the smell of food, and then eating the food and tasting the food. The Queen of Wands can create new things, but sometimes she doesn't take the time to actually enjoy the results of what she's done. And so the Six of Coins here, I think, is also to enjoy the results of what we're doing. The Six of Coins is expansion as well. Generosity to self and generosity to others. Generosity in the sense of physical pleasures, in the sense of money, economy, but also of food, of society, of getting together, of sharing space, of sharing time, enjoying the beauty of daily life, and looking for the beauty of daily life. Because sometimes the Queen could get so wrapped up in what she's doing that she doesn't appreciate the beauty that's already around her. And maybe investing a little coin in the things that we love. Maybe for us, as long as we don't have an addictive streak of buying decks to comfort ourselves. Yeah, if we buy decks as an addiction to numb the pain of daily life, that's not a good idea. However, if we invest in purchasing a deck because we love it, then yes, that's what this card is all about. Investing in things we love, as long as it's not an addictive pattern from the past, something that we can't escape, something that I just spend money to make myself feel better. You know? That's not what this card is all about. It's also an abundance of resources and a positive outlook, a positive outlook to our success in whatever it is that we are planning on doing. I'm not saying that the Queen of Wands is insecure, but this highlights that security, that sense of optimism and positivity about the things that she is working on and the results that she's going to get from them. Now, there's a balance here in the sixes, right? Between stability and movement, and stability and movement. 4 is square. Yeah, but when we look at this Six of Wands, it kind of looks like, well, let me put, you know, the wheels on a tank? They're really stable, but they're also mobile. Now, you can go forward with this group of wheels very easily and very stably, with great stability. So there's also the balance between stability and movement forward. So it's not like we're going to dart out of the gate and rush, but we're going to move forward with stability and confidence and optimism. And I'm going to get there. I'm going to go. I'm not going to push it. I'm not going to force myself to get there sooner than I should. But I have faith in myself and in my movement forward, and I know that what I'm working on and I'm doing is going to have a positive, wonderful, enjoyable, delightful result. So, what is the message again? We are the Queen of Wands. And we carry with us our playfulness and our experimental natures and our energy to do the new. To break free from our routines from the past. And do so with, not in, I gotta get out of here, I gotta break out of here, but do so with the optimistic, with the optimistic ability to enjoy the process of where we're going instead. Sometimes we break free with the Five of Wands because we just can't take it anymore. I gotta get out of here. I gotta get to something new. That's not what this Queen is looking towards. This Queen is looking towards the Six of Coins, which is, again, enjoyment and pleasures with what's around and what is new to be discovered. And generosity to herself, to himself, to themselves, and others. And enjoying the beauty of who she is, where she is, and what she's experiencing. That's the way for evolution. And I think that might be the title of this week's video. I think the title for this week's video is That's the Way of Evolution. That's the way of evolution. To evolution? Of evolution. That's the way of evolution. There we go. So friends, what do you think? What do you think of this deck? Do you have this deck? Let me know in the comments below. Do you want this deck? Let me know in the comments below. Does this reading make sense to you? I'd love to hear from you. And if you are still here, hit that thumbs up button so that YouTube knows that you got something out of it. It will draw more people's eyes to the channel. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and hit the alarm bell so you get notifications of when I upload videos. Oh yeah, and comment below. Please let me know who you are and what you think. I'd love to engage with you. If you want a reading from me, my email address is below. thehangedmaninthemoon@gmail.com. All one. No hyphens, dashes, dots, nothing. Well, there's the @ and there's the .com, but except for that, it's all one string. So shoot me an email. I'll get you a reading. Tarot de Marseille, Antique Italian deck, recreation of a Tarot de Marseille deck, or Smith-Waite, or maybe even Thoth. I'm going to be starting my Thoth deep dive year in about a month or so, but I already know Thoth a little bit. If you want a Thoth reading, let me know. Maybe you could help me with my deep dive. So friends, thank you very much for joining me on this journey. And as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.